they'll get it in today. But they're coming to tow it today, so I had to leave my phone out there with Jana so that they called during this that I wouldn't have to take off running.
Oh my goodness! You clearly don't know about this podcast. Pastor routinely takes calls while we're sitting here talking.
We could take it live out in the parking lot.
That's excellent content. We want all of that stuff. All right. Well, we'll try to follow up. Maybe we'll have you as a guest in the future. We'll figure out where in the world is Patrick Clark Sawyer's car. Well, I'm sure that Dawn has reacted to this completely calmly, right?
Oh, absolutely. She's only got Connor's doctor's appointment today. She had to run over here and drop the key off because I left it. Man, I'm such a great dad.
You need to just release her. Let her tell them how to fix the car or something like that.
Yeah. She's better than I am.
Well, praise the Lord that you're actually here at the building today.
Oh man, absolutely.
I'm glad that you were there yesterday. Let's think about a little bit of what happened. So many things happened yesterday.
Man, there was so much. I really was thinking about it this morning, man. God just orchestrated a great Sunday. Not that He doesn't do it every Sunday, but man, with everything just coming together, and again, we know that there's planning that goes in that, but not as much as you would think. Like as far as the message, of just how the message went, but also connecting it to Iglesia. Andreas's welcome at the very beginning was powerful.
Andres was on fire. He came out. So we called it Go Sunday.
Yeah.
That was your decision a long time ago. And that was just because we were going to talk about the mission trips next year. But then, as the Holy Spirit would have it, the Iglesia came about a month ago, and they were like, hey, let's do our baptisms that day as well. So that worked out really well. We get this illustration of different tribes, tongues, peoples, nations.
Yeah.
And then, like you were saying, Andres there at the beginning comes out. I said, just give us a welcome at the beginning. We love a pastor to come and greet the people. And Andres was would not rest until people were standing up and clapping and shouting.
Yeah.
It was like a full, It
was great.
He did way more than just amen himself. He was mad at people for not clapping.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was funny because when we did the baptisms, which was awesome, at the very end, I literally had thought that they had left their mics on accident and they were still just talking to each other. But then Nicholas was talking to the congregation.
Yeah.
So you did a great job of allowing that to happen.
Oh yeah, I had to figure out what was going on too, and then he's talking in Spanish, and then Andres is translating. So that was really neat.
It was great, but John Bagwell was sitting behind me, and he tapped me on the shoulder, and he goes, "I don't think you're gonna have to go up there today. I think they're going to take care of the sermon for you right now."
Well, Nicholas is clear. I would have told him this, but it would have been lost in translation. Nicholas is clearly a deacon because he knows how to talk. Yeah. He talked for like 6 minutes over his daughter, and then a few more minutes at the. I'm just like, man, that guy was born to be a deacon. He really knows. All he needs to do is take up smoking, right, and be out in the front. That's what Pastor and I always talk about with the deacons. Do you remember those days when the deacons were just outside taking a smoke break in front of the church?
Oh, absolutely.
Not here, but back in the day.
Absolutely.
That's the way it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Go Sunday, we had the Iglesia baptisms. We had what else should we say about that was the one thing I wanted to say because Andres. I didn't have a chance to say anything about this because it was too serious of a moment. But Andres was like, and isn't it a wonderful blessing? I'm going to have to tell this to Pastor next week. Isn't it a wonderful blessing? And Pastor had a birthday this past week. And I was like, Andres, is Pastor excited about his birthday? I don't know if he's excited that he's actually going to go. He doesn't like to tell people that sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you guys see Pastor Mac, tell him that he looks great for 82 years old.
Yeah.
If you guys run into him, just looks great. So
that's great.
But we're looking forward to seeing you again, Pastor. He'll be back real soon. Did you see that on Facebook? They had 100 decisions for Christ or something.
Yeah, over the weekend. Because I guess they do a Thursday. It sounds to me they do a Thursday service.
I don't know. Do they do that every week?
I don't know.
I got to ask him about that.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. It sounds to me they may do a Thursday and then so instead of doing like a Saturday or Sunday, they may do a Thursday, take off Friday, Saturday, and then do a Sunday morning.
Yeah, kind of like new school revival. I don't know. I want to talk to Pat. I sent a text. I know a couple of people that work down there at 1122, but they haven't texted me back. It's okay. They're probably just too busy watching the show. Let's take a look at at what you were preaching yesterday. So we had that, we'll talk about this, and I want to interweave some talk about what's happening with the church plants in Las Vegas, and then we got to talk about dog racing as well. Since
there we
I've heard
go,
you're
man.
a big better.
Yeah.
So Revelation chapter 5, this is just, I mean, when I was reading it, it just felt like God showing his goodness even at the end of time.
Oh.
We just sang the goodness of God, then we get into this message, and you brought the heat. Although this is one of those passages that kind of preaches itself.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
Was there any meat that you left on the bone? Was there anything else you wanted to talk about that you had to cut out of yesterday's message?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing that I really wish I could have leaned into a little bit more was, kind of said a little bit, kind of toward the end of, we're called to go and preach the gospel, but I think sometimes if we're not careful, we can put this this kind of I don't know if it's a fear or if it's I don't know what it is, but it's like I need more theological training. I need more this kind of,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I need a lot of that, and that's kind of what I was trying to say is we're already doing this every day. And I brought the example of when we see something great, when we experience something great, like we don't hold that to ourselves. We tell people. I mean, everybody. You come back from a great vacation. You go to a great like whatever it may be. You have a great cup of coffee. Like you tell people about that.
Yeah, C.S. Lewis says that the experience of joy is not complete until it's shared with
Absolutely.
others. So
Absolutely.
yeah, and you talked about movies.
Yeah.
I think that's a great example. We talk in the office a lot of times about what TV shows you're watching. Hey, you got to check this one out. So you're right. When you see something that really gets your attention, you do want to share with other people.
Yeah, and so I would have leaned into that a little bit more, just to help people understand. Like I get what you're thinking. You're thinking, man, that sounds great, but I just need a little bit more training. I need a few more Bible studies, and those things are all important. Hear me when I say that. But if you go back to like the one that comes across the mind is the woman at the well. I mean, like I mentioned her yesterday.
Mention that, yeah.
But like
she didn't have any training.
No, I mean it's like as soon as she realized in Jesus, she experienced Jesus and who Jesus was. I've said this before in another message or something. Like immediately she went to a 6-week Bible study. Immediately she went to seminary. Like no. She immediately just went and told people about her experience with Jesus.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say, that is true. I think you got to temper that with, like, you think about Paul, like after his conversion, like how many weeks did he stay and sort of kept to himself and thought through it, and then later on he was trained for like 3 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a little bit of a give and take.
Absolutely.
But the point remains that you already have what you need. Sometimes it's as simple as just inviting someone to church.
Absolutely. I mean,
hey, there was something at the beginning of the message that you said could be a sermon in and of itself. So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. I don't want you to preach a whole sermon, but what did you come up in your research as far as the contents of the scroll? The scroll has 7 seals.
Yeah.
I know there's different opinions on it. Just give us a few of those that you found.
Oh gosh, there's a lot out there. Of course, the scrolls. You go into after this, you go into the different judgments.
Yes.
And I really think that's what leads us up to is he. There's the thought is what is the scroll? Is the scroll of the book of life? Is those things and I almost feel like the scrolls, just a little bit I've studied this, is the scrolls are kind of, showing like the I guess the unveiling of the end, of the judgments.
Interesting.
Now the bigger picture is, where is Revelation fit in with the whole world? You know what I mean? Like is it, some people believe it's very future, it's very future.
Yeah.
Some people think it was in the past. And then you got some that kind of feed the middle of like the whole kind of church age.
Well, the most difficult part of understanding Revelation is that its presentation is not chronological.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you have some things that are the end, you have some things that are the beginning, and I wouldn't be equipped in this discussion to say exactly what. My dad's actually been preaching through Revelation up there in Maryland. I need to listen to some more of those messages. But yeah, that is really a challenge, especially when you drop in. I mean, you did a great job of showing us, hey, the main point is that at the end, there is every tribe and nation and tongue.
Yeah. And I think that's in my opinion, and that's what I've told people over and over, is when it comes to the book of Revelation, I think you have 2 camps of people, for the most part.
Only 2?
Well, there's probably more,
okay.
But I'm just guessing mainly 2. You have some that want nothing to do with it.
Oh, really?
Like want nothing to do, because it's just so hard to understand.
Oh, okay.
And so it's just easy not to even really study it. And I think there's people out there that are that way. But I also think that there's the other side, the flip side of that is there's people that they love, they're obsessed with Revelation. They want to know what the mark of the beast is. They want to know who the they want to know all of this. And and I'm not saying it's wrong to study those things. I have done that. I've studied a lot about Revelation. Doesn't mean I know everything. I just have studied it a lot. But I will say this: the point of it, where I think we can get lost in everything else, is like I brought up yesterday. Was the point is God gave us this book not so that we can understand what all those things are, but He gave us this book in moments of suffering and persecution and hard times, which we're seeing in this world today, that we have hope, and the hope is in Christ.
Well, it says, I can't remember the exact text, maybe you do, but it says that to anyone who hears these words receives a blessing. That's in particular, that's about Revelation. There's also a lot of end times discussion in Paul's epistles to the Thessalonians, which he wrote those to be as a word of encouragement. Yeah. So we're supposed to be encouraged. I mean, we're not supposed to be confused by these things, even though oftentimes it's bewildering. We're supposed to be encouraged, knowing that at the end, the victory belongs to the Lord.
Absolutely.
Regardless of the progression of these things. But yeah, I hear you, brother. The people in that second camp, it's just unwise to treat Revelation as kind of like Christian fan fiction, know. And then then so many people also fall to the wayside of like looking at all these things in Revelation, giving too much meaning to the things of our current age, like overemphasizing our current age. Isaiah, I think it's chapter 7, he says, do not label conspiracy everything that the world calls a conspiracy. And too often we fall into those things as well. So I appreciate that word of warning. What else did you want to hit us with from the message yesterday? Are you ready to talk about dog racing? Maybe we should go ahead and go there. I love that. I love that illustration.
Yeah, we can talk about dog racing.
Dog racing. So you made this clear yesterday. You've been a gambler on dog racing for years.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah,
just a hardcore gambler.
I've asked this question before, and I didn't do it yesterday, but I have spoke on this before. This actual illustration, and I asked the church that I was preaching in of, how many of you have ever watched? And no one raised their hand.
Oh,
and I'm
really?
like, no, wait a minute. I didn't say how many people have bet.
Yeah.
I guess, have you actually seen dog racing?
And nobody raised their hand?
And I think people were scared, thinking like, well, if I raise my hand, he's going to think I'm like betting. You know what I mean?
What's wrong with watching dogs race?
Yeah, nothing.
I feel like they're going to get arrested.
So I guess
like
they thought.
Vick or something like that.
I guess they thought I was going to be like, oh, that means you must bet on it.
That's right.
But
yes.
no.
And who's got beer in their fridge at home? Yeah, everybody. Show of hands. All right.
Yeah.
Golly, that's it's not a gotcha kind of thing. No, that's the way that's the way the dog races are done. You can't put a jockey on a dog. So how do you get them going?
Yeah.
Well, actually, that would be fun. Joanna, get on that. Let's figure out how dog jockeys. Let's figure that out. Put it on the Ocho. The thing is, when the dogs are racing, they have it's a motorized false rabbit that goes around the ring, and it stays right ahead of them.
Uh-huh.
It's like the proverbial carrot, right? That they're never going to quite get it. But I didn't realize that some dogs actually catch up to it.
Well, I mean, the research I had found and how I got it in a book and apparently in the history there has been that have caught it, and they just never race the same.
Because they know that it's fake.
Yeah, I mean, once they discover that it's fake, that it's not really what they thought it was. What's the point?
But that's such a contrast to Christ, because if you follow hard after Him, you do actually attain fulfillment.
Absolutely. I mean, again, I know I bring her up a lot, but I have studied so much the woman at the well. But you go back to that story, and Jesus is telling her about water, and He's saying, you continue to drink this water, and you will never be quenched. It's just going to lead you to destruction. You think about every time I think of that, I also think about drinking seawater. If you're out drinking seawater, you know what I mean? You've heard that illustration probably before, where your thirst is never quenched because of the salt. But what happens? You eventually drink yourself to death.
Yeah.
And really and truly, when it comes to chasing worldly things, they never satisfy us.
Yeah.
They never fulfill us. They're never what we think they are in our minds. But at the end of the day, they only really lead us to destruction. I mean,
so is that what the dogs are going through? They're chasing after worldly things, and then they realize that it's ultimately fulfilling.
I mean, I think that when they finally, it's like anything else in the world. I mean, is there ever been anything that, and everybody probably knows this, that, and everybody in this room and all this stuff.
Sure.
You want something so bad. I mean, you throw it to anything, a house, a car, I mean, whatever, anything in this world, you want it so bad, but the moment that you get it, it's almost like, okay, that was great. but that's it.
Yeah, like you buy something, you have buyer's remorse,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, is this all there is? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was, I know we've all saw this, but like Tom Brady. If you remember the interview with Tom Brady, and he was talking about all he had achieved. I mean, look at this guy, probably the greatest football quarterback ever possibly lived.
Sure.
It's played the game. He's won all these Super Bowls. And in the interview, he was like, I've won all this, I've done all this, and I'm this age. That's it? Like, this is it?
Yeah.
Please tell me there's more
Right,
to life.
because there's not ultimate fulfillment.
And you think about that guy. Can you imagine? Like, put yourself, you're Tom Brady, right?
Yeah.
Life can't get any better for you.
Well, one would think, right?
But in those moments when you actually are Tom Brady, you have a different view of that.
Satan has such a tired playbook, you know.
Yeah.
He gives us the same temptations, and we fall for them over and over again, and we think that, well, if I just have this thing, then I'll have true fulfillment. But true fulfillment doesn't exist in this life apart from Christ. I mean, that's the other big C.S. Lewis quote. If I find in this world if I have desires in this world that nothing in this world can satisfy, well, I can only conclude I wasn't made for here. I was made for somewhere else. And that's what these people that are, you know, Tom Brady, Jim Carrey's another good example of someone who's like achieved so much and says it's ultimately meaningless.
Yeah.
When we see those stories over and over, and yet it's, you know, it's a tale as old as time.
Yeah.
People are going to continue to chase after worldly pursuits. But I appreciate you telling us that we shouldn't yesterday. You really punched us in the mouth. I like that.
Well,
fiery preacher on Sunday morning.
I mean, and I know you know this, and Pastor Mac would know this. I mean, anybody that preaches know this, that when you show up on a Sunday to preach, man, you've been beat up by the passage.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hurtful.
So you don't feel so bad about
It's
punching other people
demoralizing.
because you've experienced it and you know what it feels like.
Well, the best analogy I ever heard was like the whole thing of the preacher should never attack the congregation with the sword of the word.
Yeah.
I mean, in a sense he should,
Yeah.
but you shouldn't be holding it with the handle.
Yeah.
You should be holding it with the blade. Have you heard
that's
this
good.
one?
No, that's good.
You hold it with the blade, and you're showing it to me. Look, this has already cut me,
Yeah.
and it must do
That's
the
good.
same to you.
Yeah, that's good.
So
That's
yeah,
good.
I feel like you did that with honor yesterday, bro.
Well, thank you, man. It was it's always an honor to do that. I love doing it. I mean, I do.
So what's coming up for you? You preaching again at Leeds soon? I mean, what's coming next
Yeah.
for the missions department?
Oh man, yeah. Preaching wise, yeah, I got to go to Valley View a few more times, and then doing some more teaching on Wednesday night here. But
Okay, good.
But missions, man, missions we got a group in London right now.
Yeah.
They're doing great. I mean, I've already heard a few stories, man. Amazing.
Oh, I love
Amazing.
that.
A taxi. I got a great story I think that we can capture when they get back.
Oh, good.
A great
Yeah,
story
I'm
about Becky Sager and the first taxi cab driver that she got. It was
I'm
awesome.
excited
Shared
to
the
hear
gospel
that.
with him and everything. It was a fantastic story.
Tell me about, you just mentioned, it just left my mind. Oh, yeah, the next Wednesday night series. What's going on there?
Yeah, man. The next Wednesday night series is on parenting. We just finished.
Oh, okay.
We just last week we finished up the Avengers, the original Avengers.
Yes, the original Avengers.
Yeah, and man, that was a great series. And then they're moving into a parenting series, and after that, which that'll be awesome. Then after that, then we finish up with the Book of Jonah, which
Oh, nice.
man, I love the Book of Jonah. I mean,
Is
Book of Jonah's
Josh
so
Wilkes
good.
teaching some of that? I know.
Yeah,
he was working
I
on
think
that.
me, Barry, and Josh are doing Jonah. We all three, we did that at Valley View.
Oh, okay.
It worked out where I was trying to figure out something because we put together a plan, or I did, with Valley View for the rest of the year, and I just thought, man, we're already going to do this at Valleydale. Might as well just do it there. So we just all three did that. We've already done it at Valley View. It went really well. They
I love
enjoyed
it.
it.
Well, so you guys out there, make sure you keep praying for Valley View out
Yeah.
there in Leeds, congregation we're supporting. We want to pray that they have a pastor soon.
Yeah.
Keep praying for Valleydale Missions, especially for the London team that's still out right now. And keep praying that Patrick's going to get his car towed. Please, will you
Yeah,
guys just...
please.
I hope that somebody will come and get that car at some
Yes,
point.
I hope. I hope it's there now, picking it up.
Keep
But-
praying for Iglesia as well.
Oh man, they're doing so good, man. It's so encouraging. And Andreas is just such a humble guy
I
that
love
it's
it.
so convicting when you talk to him, because it's like, oh my gosh, do I come across that kind of humility in my life? And it's hard
I
because
know,
he's
I don't. Lord
he's
help
so humble, man. It's awesome. I
Well,
love
and
him.
just the way that he was just so kind and fatherly with the people as he was baptizing them, I was like, man, it was so moving. And
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why he had me standing right there, but I'm grateful he did, because I got to see it
That's awesome.
Seeing
Man. It was
the
a great.
front row.
It was a great day. I was just say it was a great day. I mean, I was just reflecting that last night and even this morning. Man, it was such a great day yesterday. So.
Well, it's been fun hanging with you guys. We're going to see you on Wednesday night, and we'll see you next Sunday. Pray for Pastor. He's coming back, I think, late tomorrow.
Nice.
And he'll be back on the mound next week. Been great. Say goodbye, Joanna.
Oh, gosh.